What's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. Today's like a versus kind of, and it's really more of a versus toward carry. I have my Cold Steel SR1, and this one is in like the 35 VN or something. Let's see, I can't really see in this damn light. This is the, I believe it's the CPM 35 VN. This is some crazy serious knife steel. This one is the Bushmaster Lite, I believe it is, and it's in like a CR13 MOV. So steel for steel, the SR1 in that configuration, that's just better. It's straight up just better. Does that make this one bad? Hell no. This one I have had zero problems with. So when a lot of people talk about steels and, you got to, I don't know, this is a much lesser steel than that one, and it's performed exactly the same. So for the knife snobs out there who think, the knife is only as good as the steel, knife is good as the heat treat. So if the heat treat's done right, your knife is going to be good. It doesn't freaking matter what the steel is, as long as the heat treat's done right. This is basically going to be a difference in owning and carrying. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because on my EDC rack upstairs, I was just going through to figure out what I wanted to carry today, and these two happen to be sitting next to each other, right? So I went to grab first this one, then I was like, maybe the SRK, and then I realized there really is like a difference in the two, even though they're pretty much the same. They are both spine locking clip points, right? Both the same plasticky, and even though I don't like the material, it works, gets it done, right? But that same plasticky grip, they both have full hand grips. This one right here has about a 3 3 3/4. This one has like a 4-inch blade. This one closed is around 5 inches. This one's around 5.5. So you're getting like a 1/2 inch more grip on this with about a 1/4 inch or slightly more blade. That's it. So it comes down to why would you want both, or why would you feel you need both? This one's thicker, the SR1. And here's the deal. If you are deciding between the two and you have come to a point in your life where you're wondering, okay, I really want one of these knives, which one do I want? Here's the thing. Do you care about what's going to be taking up more pocket space, or do you care about what has a lesser blade length? Because to be honest with you, that's the only thing that's really going to separate these knives for you as far as use and carry. That's it. And people are going to say, but the SR1, you want to get that because that is the better steel. I'm telling you, from not guessing and not reading things on the internet and not watching other people talk about why knife steels are so important, I'm telling you from actual experience in owning both. The steel in these two don't really make the difference when it comes to EDCing these. It doesn't. What makes the difference is, what do you prefer? Because you're not going to get one that's going to stand out so far from the other as far as use due to the steel in these knives. The steel will not hinder, make, or break anything that has to do with the actual functionality of these knives. It absolutely won't. I don't care who tells you what. I don't care what soapbox they're standing on. It doesn't matter that this steel is phenomenal where this steel is lesser. I've put them through they both went through the same stuff, right? They both held the same kind of edge. They're both doing the same. There's no chips, folds, rolls, anything from regular use out of these. None. There's nothing different. So if you're allowing people to change your mind due to steel designation, tell them to take a back seat. What matters is, all right, so how do you like the contouring? This knife if I hold it like this with my thumb up top, it's pretty comfortable. It's much less comfortable holding it this way. This knife, if I hold it here, it's not almost as comfortable as holding it here. This one has a nicer palm area, and the ramp right here, I don't if especially because my hands are so big, my thumb doesn't sit way back here. It cramps because it pulls my thumb back. So I want my thumb up here. So if I was going to hold it in this grip, my thumb needs to be on the spine. If I hold this one, I can bring my hand all the way back, and I could put my thumb right here on the jimping, and now it's fine. I'm not all cramped up. So it's going to come down to like position. This one is way more comfortable up here because it doesn't have this really stupid ramp right here. And what's important about the ramp is the added blade width. So the ramp is kind of important to give you a really nice wide blade so you can do more stuff with it, where this one is just, it's more narrow, first of all. But it's narrow to the point where you can still pretty much do anything you want. You can still dig things out. Like if I was going to use this metal detecting, that's a really good thing to have a nice wide blade, is when you're trying to dig things out. You don't want a skinny blade. It take you 4 years to dig out a bottle cap. You know what I mean? So that's important on this one. It's important that it adds that, and that's why that's there. Does it need to be so pronounced? No, they could have done a better job designing that. I think it's a pretty bad design area because it doesn't contour to multiple hand sizes. It contours generally to smaller hands, where this one, because it's nice and flat, anybody can put their thumb on here very comfortably and use this knife very comfortably. This one here is pretty comfortable. Here I can choke up and I can really, really get down with it, which isn't bad. Then this thing doesn't come into play, this little hump here. They could have just made a gradually risen spine and then made it even with that. And if you take that off right there like that, all of a sudden this knife would be a game changer as far as comfort. And that's what it comes down to, is just there's some things in knives. You know what's funny is you can see there's nothing there. It's just material that they left wide open. And I never even noticed that before because I never looked. But all they did is throw extra material in there for no purpose. I don't know why they did that. They went above the steel. You never see that. Normally, it would be equal with the steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind that down. As a matter of fact, there's even a ridge between the steel itself and the spine. I think I'm going to level that out and really change the way this knife profiles in the hand. And I think it's going to greatly improve the feel of this knife. But getting back to just what does it matter in your pocket? If you could only have one, what would you choose? Doesn't matter. It comes down to what you're willing to spend and how much knife you want in your pocket. It's really all that matters. If you can have both, you'd think, okay, if they both do the same job, why have both? Because you can. That's it. You know, there's no reason that you would need both. There's none. Not a single reason on the planet that you would physically need to own both of these knives because they'll both do the same job. What it comes down to is, do you care to own both? Do you want both? Do you like both enough to say, okay, I could definitely go over them? Why do I have both? Because I needed to review them, so I bought them each so I can go over them. That's the only reason I have both. If it really came down to which one was I going to have, it'd be the SR1. And not just because of the steel designation, but because it has a little bit more blade length. The handle is a little bit bigger, and it has that nice transition from frame to spine, from frame to blade. That's why I would take this one. If this knife had this steel, but they were still both the same, I would still choose this knife. Straight up. It doesn't matter to me that this one is better steel if this one's working just the same. So, and there's people that ask all the time, well, which one would you want? Doesn't matter. So for me, I just like a bigger knife because I'm a bigger person. My hands are enormous. So it benefits me to have a bigger knife. I do think, though, after I grind this down, I do think I'm going to like that better. And now it's in my head that I'm going to do it. So I can tell you straight up it's going to get done. And this part of the blade right here, this square part, just needs to fit up square with that. The rest of that material does nothing. See how the spine right there of the frame sticks out above the spine of the blade? Why? That's a really poor design that I never even noticed before. Because I carry this one less, and it's mainly because of that area. That's it. And I hate these stupid locks. That's another thing. If you don't want one of those goofy locks, and the lock is pretty much useless. They make the locks on these cold steel knives so damn good that it's not going to it's not going to just loosen randomly in your pocket. It's not going to loosen while you're using it. I've never had a cold steel knife just accidentally fold on me. Their locks are very, very good. Without these locks, I mean, they're just regular spine lock, are very, very good. They have the what do you call it? The other lock that Demco did. It's the best spine lock in the business, right? So this is just another stupid thing that they can add on there that costs them absolutely nothing to do, that they can charge you more money for. So you could actually charge less for this knife by removing this stupid thing, but they leave it. It's awful. But as far as the knife itself, two spine lock knives, both made of this plasticky handle, both decently thick. This one I love the girth of. I just really do. And that's another reason I would choose that one. This is a nice big fat knife. A lot of knives, pocket knives, don't have that thickness. This thing has the thickness of a straight up fixed blade. But I just like the overall look of this one better. So it has nothing to do with anything but size preference for me. But it has nothing to do with the workability, like how it's going to perform over this one, why I would choose this one over this one. So if you are looking at both, I hope that really helps you out, because I believe this one is a lot cheaper than this one. And if you are concerned saying, oh, I really want one that's going to work great, but this one's a lot cheaper, so it's probably not going to work great, that's not why it's cheaper. But it's going to work great. So if you're really interested in a Bush Ranger Lite, don't be afraid to get it because of what you read about steels. Don't let that affect you. This is a really great knife. If you are going to spend a little bit extra and you want just a little bit something more in the hand, then get this one. If you want something that's less weight, get the other one. It just comes down to that. It's really basic preference. But for the people who think that there's some kind of monster difference between these knives, like Cold Steel made these two knives, and they're very, very separate from one another, that's not true. That is not true. You would be very happy with either one of these, and both are going to do the exact same thing. If two guys are out in the woods and one has this and one has that, and they do the same exact tasks, the same exact tasks are going to get done the same exact way. So, what do you like? It comes down to that. What looks better to you? What weight would you rather have? And there's not a tremendous amount of difference there. There's not a tremendous amount of difference in length. So, really, it just comes down to preference for me. I prefer this shape over this one. That's it. So, that's it for that. Quick and easy. I am Donnie B all day. Till next video.